What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mr. Straight Facts Show. I'm Mr. Straight Facts. Today, I really don't have a lot to say in the negative realm today. Uh, I really just want to send out prayers to the families of the two National Guardsmen. Uh, from what I hear, information I have, it is one woman and one man. The woman was shot in the head, from what I was told. Now, here's the thing. Today, the news, and I understand news is when it's brand new, it's hard to catch up with everything. But the first I heard of it early this morning, there were two people shot. They didn't know exactly the number, I guess. They didn't know if the other person was a suspect or not. Turns out the other person was a suspect. And he's an Afghan national. They're researching and all the information about him, so we don't have anything on him. The other two, not too much other than the fact that one's a man, one's a woman, and the one who got shot in the head was the woman. But earlier today, they had already pronounced these two dead. And prayers lifted and everything like that for the families. And then later on, I'm sitting here, a good hour or two before the show, and I'm shocked. I'm like, they're alive, or was it two extra people that they're talking about? So these two people are alive. They're not dead, but they're fighting for their lives. So keep them in your prayers. I'm of the mindset they should have never been where they were at, but it's neither here nor there. It's a done deal. They're talking about sending out 500 more National Guardsmen and women. I'm not quite sure what that do. I mean, let's just get real for a second. What's up, Vera? What's up, Dennis? Let's get real for a second. What are they doing? Right? I found out today some stats about some of the things that they have been doing since they've been in DC. Specifically, the other states, I don't know exactly what they're doing, but from what I hear today, and it was all different types of stats, they have been gardeners and trash picker-uppers. I mean, they've been on like cleaning duty of the state. I'm not quite sure why we sent them to do work that we usually use the prison system to do. Cleaning up the sidewalks and buildings and stuff like that. That's what we use prisoners for, and we're using our men and women who are used to protect our country, not clean it. Kind of confused by this one, y'all. I just, prayers to the family, but there should be a lawsuit because they found it to be illegal for them to even be stationed like this. A judge did. And hopefully the families can have, some recourse to sue, hopefully, the government or whatever force, Donald Trump, that put them in these positions. They should not be on American soil acting like they're at war with a third world country or some shit. And they're to clean up duty. Anyway, that part got to me today because, there's some families right on Thanksgiving that are having a deal. And I don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but other people do. They're just getting ready to sit down across friends and family and loved ones and babies and now they've got to figure out a funeral. Well, not a funeral. These people are still alive. At first, I thought it was a funeral earlier today. That's what got me so confused. But they're having to, keep going to the hospital and checking back and forth and see if their child or husband or father is still alive or mother. It's crazy. It's just where we are now. Don't know anything about the guy. Don't know. They think it was a hit. I mean, it was close range. Um, but sad. So I really don't have, I don't feel like, right to be going off on a lot of stuff about what's going on in this world when it's time for like to be kind of thankful and to pray for those who the Native Americans and indigenous people who went through hell to begin with around this time. So prayers going out to all the people who are going through things, um, for all those who went through things in history, and for the families who are going through some of these most horrendous things that just happened. And I know there's more than these two, but that's the only two that I know about. And I ain't talking about military. I'm just saying in the United States, in the world, there are people who are going through things right now. Um, One of the things, that made me think about this is that this is something that's not planned, right? The crazy man planned it. This guy, Afghan national, planned it, but these two people didn't plan it. Okay. Now, what flashed through my mind soon after them being in the hospital, they were fighting for their lives after they passed away. I was told, and then later they weren't. Uh, is that there's a long road if these two human beings, uh, soldiers, if these two survive, they have a long road ahead of them. Their family has a long road ahead of them. And one of the things I thought about was, do they have health care? Because this was unplanned. And if they survive, they're going to be in the millions of debt. Millions. If they don't have health care. Hundreds of thousands if they do have health care. Something that wasn't planned. They didn't wake up this morning thinking about this. They woke up this morning kissing their loved ones, hugging their loved ones, drinking their coffee, and going out to pick up trash. You know what I'm saying? Do some menial work away from your families out here. They don't live, all of them, in Washington, D.C. They're out there just being deployed. So that's the thing that made me think, like, do they have health care? And let's close this down. I'm always talking about, we have to have uh, a healthcare plan that works for everybody. And one of the questions I spoke to a coworker today about, and um, what do we do about why is it that America refuses to have, not that we can't have it, because I did the research. We can afford universal health care. Why don't we want it? And now I started to think more in depth about it because I think we should have it. And we don't trust the healthcare companies. Look what Luigi did, and people celebrated it. I didn't lose no sleep over it, I'm not going to lie, of what he did to the CEO, or I can't say he did it because I wasn't there, didn't see him fully, but the person who was being charged with it, reason why they supposedly did it, because many people die, and these healthcare companies choose to keep you alive or to let you die based on how much money they got to spend. We spend too much on that one person. Tell the family that there's nothing else we can do. We can't give them this treatment when they could, but they don't want to. And so I know why the rich don't want it. And I know why, like, Republicans and people who want to cater to the rich don't want it. Regular American citizens, I'm starting to understand why it hasn't moved forward. Because I don't think, when you look at other countries, I checked out the UK, Canada, Germany, they all offer this. And we're supposed to be like the greatest country in the world, we say, right? The richest country in the world, we say. But how are these countries that aren't richer than us offering health care universally? If you get sick, you can go to the doctor, take care of it, take your butt home, you straight. Germans aren't just dropping off dying. Canadians aren't just dropping off dying. UK, same. They're not dropping off just dying because their medical system is not working. People aren't just leaving. In fact, some of their specialists we go to for certain things, certain aspects of diseases, and they come to ours for some things. So it's not like they have subpar health care. Then you go into like how many Americans versus how many UK people, how big we are, different things of that nature, which really doesn't kind of matter because we pay taxes. They have less bodies paying taxes, and we have more bodies paying taxes, depending on the population. So I looked at it and saw how much it costs for universal health care in other countries per person, how much they pay. And it's roughly 14,000, under 15,000. I think it was 14,885. Well, no, that's actually us. We spend that much right now, $14,885 per person on health care, which is about 17 to 18% of our GDP. These other countries spend half that. I'm doing the research. I'm figuring out like how are they doing it. But I started to realize why even Americans are kind of shaky on it. And I don't think they necessarily think about it this way. They're being told certain things, so they believe whatever their party or family members or whomever tell them stuff. But I dug a little deeper into it. And we all know that we have a huge trust problem with our government. We look at these other countries, we say that they're worse than ours, but are they really? I mean, think about it. Every country has this problem with corruption and government and so forth. But what countries have that we don't, and they have them for their health care and things of that nature, what they have in their countries that we don't? Regulations. Mm-hmm. That is probably the biggest part of the problem of America not having universal health care, because we don't have the regulations and the rich people don't want them, so they can charge you $800 for a little, vial of insulin to keep you or your family member alive. They can charge you a crap amount of money. For years they did, until Biden got it down to 30 something dollars or whatever it may be. Now, here's the thing that here's the thing. Think about this for a second, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Biden got, I'm sure with other people involved, got insulin down to like 30 something dollars, right? Much higher before. At 30 something dollars, one of those vials, those small vials, they're still making a profit. So how much does it cost? $1 to make? 75 cents for one vial? That they can charge $32 and still make a profit. But throughout these years have been charging you, 65 bucks or whatever, but charging your insurance company $125. So it's like $185 for one little vial. They don't want that moneymaker to fall apart. They choose money and power over people. That's America's problem. Is that they tell you that, oh, love America, but America doesn't love you back. How can you say America loves you back when you put everything into it, and what it gives you back is division? It gives you back, poor health care. It gives you back price gouging. It gives you back, overbearing laws and shit, less regulations. It gives you back corporations being in your community causing your kids and family members to get cancer, and you got to sue for fucking decades to get them to stop. It gives you back putting oil into our oceans and killing our wildlife and shit like that in the ocean, and then cleaning it up and acting like it never happened. That's what it gives you back. It's the ultimate, like, abusive relationship. You give it everything and it gives you absolutely nothing and tells you to love it. We have safety from our military men and women, but when it comes down to it, it is our men and women that are fighting for you. Our government doesn't do anything but cause problems. Our government right now is actually in cahoots with our enemy to give our ally a raw deal. Let me say that again. Our government right now is in cahoots with our known enemy, a man in a country that wants to see the fall of America, the destruction of America. Our government is entering into a deal with that person. That person is dictating what kind of bill or peace treaty he wants written up. And we're taking it to our allies and saying it's ours. That's what our government gives us. What kind of safety, what kind of care is that for the American people's safety? That you would literally get in cahoots with the enemy that wants to kill us, destroy us, destroy our dollar so that we are no longer the superpower. It is adamantly working day in and day out to destroy America. There are so many Russian bots on X because they put in that new system that tells you where this thing originated from. I went on it because I got like this account that I closed out my account and I went back on it recently. And I don't really post on it. It's kind of sickening. As soon as I open it up, it's so much MAGA. It's like, oh my God, I close it right back down. But I saw Politics by Tabitha. Shout out to her. And she said, oh, they're, you know, they got the names and stuff like that, and it's showing everybody. So I go over and I look. I spent about 20 minutes because I saw the one she saw. I spent about 20 minutes going over the ones that constantly on my page, and just constantly when I open it up, I'm like, oh, there's too much negative, too much MAGA. And I found, out of all the ones that I looked, I found, and I mean, I looked at about a couple hundred looking at this whole thing, right? Going back and forth, open up one, open one, open one. I spent about an hour or so looking at it. I saw some that were originated in America, very few. I saw a lot from Russia. I saw some from Europe, some kind of European, how it was written, Eastern European or something like that. I saw many from Africa, Nigeria. I saw many from Asia. But I would say the majority of them were from Russia. We got our president, Witkoff, and Marco Rubio, and all of them are they have a wish list from Putin, our known enemy, and handing it to our allies, the ones that we've been giving hundreds of millions of dollars to and weapons galore to fight for our allies so that we don't have to go to World War III. We have these people. That's what our government is giving us. They're giving us back no trust, no love, no nothing. And we keep giving it to them over and over and over. Then you go into our Social Security system. I can't speak for you, but my family and myself and loved ones, friends, we have been loyal to paying this Ever since it was introduced, it was supposed to be a Social Security program, or basically a program for our elderly when we get older. We all pay into it, and the generation before is helping pay the generation that retires. So as generations grow older, each generation will be taken care of. And we keep talking about how we don't have enough money and it's gonna, you know, go broke. And then we got politicians trying to end Social Security. Like it's outplayed. It's time. We don't need it anymore, type of thing. Some people are pitching that. I'm sure it's the minority of the conservatives, but it's been pitched before. And for those who may not know, because I know many of you will learn it and some of you may not know, that program was built as a savings program. Now we all know at some point in time, we did the kid, you got your savings account at the bank, and you was all happy, your parents or friends, or when you got old enough to get a job, you went and got that savings account at 15 years old, 15 and a half in Indiana we had to be. I think that was federal, but got that job, put away $15, $20 in that savings account, and it didn't have any real interest back then, but you had that savings account, and it just kept going in and going in and going in. You've been at the job for a year, you got $1,000 in there. You're like, oh, you got money. Back in those days, you got to think about it. When I grew up, we made $3.35 an hour, and when I was working at McDonald's and shit like that, and started doing this on my own. And this Social Security was supposed to be there for me when I get old. You know what I'm saying? And then for them to say, oh, it's not going to make it. Now, common sense tells you and me it should. If a program that's been educated, informed, promoted to American people when it first came in, and still that it is a program just for like a savings program, no money should come out except for the people who are supposed to be receiving their money when they get 65 or whatever age it was. And then you have our government we're supposed to trust. At some point in time, the conservatives in office realized that the deficit that they had going on and the spending that they were going on, it was going to look drastically different. So they took a ginormous amount of money out of our savings account to patch up what they fucked up. And they patched up with our money, making it look like they were doing something. At the same time, they put in these BS IOUs. We're going to give this money back. Once this happens, we're going to give this money back. We're going to pay it back to the Social Security. So you do understand, had they not fucked with our money, we wouldn't be going through this. Now, personally, I say, and I'm not a lawyer, but my question to lawyers is that why can't the people sue the government? Because they didn't get permission from American people. They didn't give us a vote on anything like that. When we went into Social Security, it was voted upon. For them to take our money out, they just chose to do it, and it was against the rules to do. So I don't understand how they decided upon themselves to use this as some kind of slush fund to take out whenever they fucking pleased, and then put it in the pockets of millionaires and billionaires. And here we are having to pay back the money by having higher taxes and shit that we never took out to begin with, that we never asked to take it out. So how can we trust you to give us health care if you can't give us this right here, elderly care, basically what we was looking for? It ain't nothing Americans did that has put America in a situation that it's in. It's what the people we put in office did. They're supposed to be of service. Instead of doing of service, they have been robbing us. blind, and just playing it off like, it's just politics. No, it's not. It's not just politics. It's highway robbery. So how can we trust if they did come up with a universal health care plan that it would actually work? They would do nothing but say, oh, we're having a deficit. We'll just take some money out of the health care plan and pay it off. See, the reason why these things happen is because other countries who don't have this particular problem, they have that thing called regulations. Regulations. Something that the Republicans are allergic to. They call it big government. No, it's called not allowing the government to fuck over its citizens. And for far too long, that's what our government is doing. What Donald Trump is doing is literally putting up a mirror to what any of these presidents, any of these factions that are supposed to be for us, whether it be Social Security, whether it be the FBI, CIA, is showing you how this country has so many loopholes that doing what Donald Trump is doing and his minions are doing is not so highly illegal that we are not going out and snatching these people and putting them in jail for what they're doing. They're showing you the limitations in which this country will allow. How much they can fuck over the American citizens before it's illegal. How much can they F over the American citizens before they are held responsible? And we're learning they can do anything. The way our system's set up without these regulations, without these strong rules and the ability to enforce them, giving this man immunity, giving our politicians immunity, meaning toward speaking and so forth and other things. But I have yet to hear one politician apologize to the American people for effing over Social Security. They don't have to be the ones who did it. It's your party that allowed it at some point in time. And you need to come out and tell the American people, this is what our party or both parties allowed to happen, and we won't stand for it to happen again. Because if you do not denounce what they did, those of us who love this country but can't trust you guys don't want to partake in the system in which you guys have immunity and you have no heart. You allow others to fuck us over. And what do we get out of it? You guys don't even apologize for the shit you did. None of these historians or, these pundits and political pundits, they're always praising this president and praising that one. And, oh, I love George Washington. Thomas Jefferson was this. Abraham Lincoln was that. What is up with the people who keep fucking over Americans? Why don't you talk about them and how they betrayed America by taking our money? And we're sitting here having to worry about our elderly not getting what they're supposed to get because of a system that we designed, had you not fucked with it, would have more than enough money in it to take care of our elderly, that our taxes would not have to go up, because that account, if it was still there, fully intact without politicians taking a fucking dime out of it, it would be solvent. It would not be a problem. It would have more than enough to take care of our elderly. And as we continue to put more in, it would take more than enough for future people. We would have been able to have a process that worked beautifully. But the reason why it has issues, the reason why they keep telling you that it might be, broke by this year or that year, 2084, whatever the fuck it is. The only reason that would be is because you took money from it and didn't pay it back. And not responsible for paying it back for some reason. Where else can you do that? So if we did have a healthcare system, universal, can we really trust the government to not take some of that money and start spending it other places? And then say the system is gonna, it's gonna be broken in the next 20 years. Of course it would, with your grubby hands in it. Billionaires asking you to give them a tax cut, and you go around stealing from everybody's program to try and give it to them. Regulations would not allow this to happen. You ask both parties, why are these things possible? Robbing from Peter to pay Paul, but never paying Peter back. How do you solve problems when you create more every time you're elected? They always come up with bullet points. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to raise this money. We're going to do that. I'm like, okay, cool. So when is it going to happen? Oh, we got to vote on it. Okay, now vote on it. When's that going to happen? I don't know about y'all, but I get tired of being promised shit only to turn around that they may have done something, but the parts that have holes in it, or like the Obamacare ACA, it was great. For me, at least, I know it was great. And I know it has some loopholes. It has some issues with it. But what was thought to have only maybe give 12, 13, 15 million people insurance turned out to give like 42 million. You can't tell me going from 15, a projection of possibly 20, to doubling that in the 10 or 15 years that you've been doing it. You can't tell me that system doesn't work. Instead of having both parties figuring out how can we chug along and make this better, we're constantly knocking heads to make it worse. That's why I say Americans have to figure this out. We got to start acting like this is our country. It's a we thing. I start acting like it's a we thing instead of a me thing. It ain't just about you. It ain't just about me. It's a we thing. We can have good health care for our families if we decide that we want it and we don't put them in the head of it, because them can't trust. It kills me how they talk about they're doing a service to the people. It's strange how when you go in, by the time you come out, the people are still just as broke, but you're richer, but you served us. That's crazy. They pretend to be Christians. It's like crazy. Jesus was broke helping out people. And you guys are rich pretending to help out people, but you go in, some of y'all have a little money, some of you are rich, some of you are broke, but y'all all come out more connected, more money, more opportunities, books, all this other shit. But while you're there, many of you leave without passing one bill. Many of you leave without actually helping anything in your communities. So many Republicans have received monies and funds based on Democrat bills, Build Back Better and things of that nature. And the CHIPS bill that they passed, and your state is the recipient of these factories, but your representative said no to it. I mean, I get tired of it, the same old cycle. Give people opportunities, they do absolutely nothing. They become richer. They're supposedly have served us. By the end, they may have made one vote that went our way. I don't know. 18 years, Jim Jordan, no bills passed. But I bet you that pedophile watching athletes and shit, they call a dog or whatever. I bet you money, if you look at his bank account in those 18 years, he done flourished. What was his service? Throw kinks in everything that people want to do for all people. There is no reason why this country, the greatest country in the world, the richest country in the world, you can't offer health care for all. When you got the UK, they're not as rich as us. They offer it for all their people. Germany, they're not as rich as us. They offer it for all their people. Canada, not as rich as us. They offer it for all their people. Other countries offer for all their people. We're the richest, but all these countries that are less rich than us have figured it the fuck out. But what most of those countries do that this country fails to do is have regulations. In these other countries, there are regulations in which nobody can touch those funds other than for what it's for. It's hard to get our politicians to fight for that. In a lot of these countries, if you're going to write a bill about health care, that bill is about health care. It's not all this pork in it where they're like, oh, it's health care, but we need a bridge, and my daughter needs, new teeth and shit, and my son needs a new bike. I'm like, what the fuck has this got to do with health care? And I know they don't go that trivial, but they'll still do stupid shit like, oh, I'll pass a bill I'll be the 48th or whatever vote if you give me this, if you give me that. And I'm like, this is America, bro. You shouldn't have any pork thrown into a bill that's for all Americans. It shouldn't be something going to just Massachusetts when the bill's for the entire America. Massachusetts, like, oh, if you want my vote, throw this in for my people. What is that? That's that me mentality bullshit. If the war came to our doorstep, is it, are we going to be able to have a deal where we say, I'm California, you know what I'm saying? We pay more taxes than everybody else. All the 49 states, y'all send y'all kids, y'all go out there and fight. We're going to sit down for a minute because it's a me thing. America's California put more money in this country than any other state combined. So y'all go out there and fight and leave Californians alone. We get to stay safe. Do we do shit like that? Fuck no. So why the hell when we pass bills, each individual states is trying to get some shit just for them and saying fuck you to the rest of the country? That big beautiful bill. One Republican person to get my vote. I know this is going to hurt people financially, so my people don't get hit for a year and a half or some shit like that. They're going to still get the subsidies. So one state got to continue getting the subsidies the way they are, while the remaining states are not. Why would that be? Is it that hard for this country to see itself as a we? Do we have to go through a tragedy in order to see that we'll never forget? How about we go through the fact that we got people's families members who are dying from just simple things like catching the flu or pneumonia, and they can't go to the doctor because they don't have the money to do it. They don't want to go broke, and they think they can beat it, and they end up dead. Whose fault is that? You think it's just them? No, it's our fault. We choose not to help other people save lives. That's what they're supposed to be there for, of service. We put money into a pot called taxes so that it could serve all of us. And sometimes I don't need it. I'm good. But when I put that money in there, I don't think of it just coming back for me. I think of it for the we. It's putting it in there for those who are having hard times, those who don't have, those who don't have the career nor the education and maybe working toward it. That's what it's for, so that we become a more perfect union. Not me, we. Why is it so hard to think for we? Why is it always just about you? Put this money in so that we do better. That's why I can't stand the Republican Party. There is never a we in their thought process. The only thing they think of we is MAGA. If they took the same energy where they loved MAGA so much and just loved America just the same, oh, we'd be doing a lot better in this country. The world to me is filled with a bunch of fake ass Christians too. I said what I said. And why I say this. Because if you believe in Christianity, you believe in God, it mentions having an abundance. So if you believed in the Bible about the abundance and all that, you would know that you would not go without. So you wouldn't have to try and pull somebody else down so you can get above them. You wouldn't have to make fun of the homeless or walk by the homeless or step over the homeless. You would help them. Because why? Because you see them as we, not just me. Everybody is just an ailment or a mental illness from being on the street. You ain't special. You ain't like God's best friend or chosen child. We're all the same. If we start seeing each other like one another, maybe we can have things. You say when your parents say you can't have nothing when you was a kid, because somebody was always fucking up shit. Every 3 minutes you hear something crash. But like, what the fuck are you doing now? Sit your ass down. Keep breaking shit. You can't have nothing. In this country, that's what it's like. Everywhere you go, you see somebody doing some stupid ass shit, and you're like, you can't have nothing. You always gotta have some dipshit fucking shit up just because they think it's funny or fun. Messing it up for everybody else just because their little crazy ass got problems. Seek help. Always. We can't have nothing. We can have health care if we didn't have these dipshits out here trying to rob and steal and I'm talking about these billionaires doing it. I ain't talking about the regular average day person. They can't steal enough. We're talking about the ones stealing billions, trillions of our dollars in the name of subsidies, wealthy welfare. And at the same time, wouldn't go into a community and invest in it so that they don't have to live in a downtrodden area. You know why I know a lot of these rich people who claim to love Jesus and all that, I know you don't have Jesus or God in your heart. Because if you was anything like them, I remember this like it was yesterday. One of these clips back in the day where Donald Trump was riding through an area and he saw the projects. And he was like, I don't see how those people live like that. And just kept it moving. I know this man isn't of God, but if he pretends to be, if he was, the way he would have saw that is, my brothers and sisters are out there going through things. I wonder how they live like that. I'm going to make sure that I come in and bring in, things into the community. Let's get some places. Let's build some living wage jobs out there. We got enough money to do that. We can build some living wage jobs out there. What is the talent or skill sets of the people in that community? Let's start building industries nearby so that we can get them up to a living wage of being able to afford that area and take good care of it. What's the sole reason why it's like that? They don't think past that. They don't think past what they see. They make judgments on what they see. But just like the movie Trading Places and many others, all people need are opportunities, and they can show you what they're working with. When you put in a place the lack of opportunities, a lack of any kind of economic, going upward in economics, you see what happens to people. No opportunity. Always being either fired because of where you live in your address, or not hired because of the way your name sounds, or how kinky your hair may be, how poor you may be, not be able to buy a suit, no matter what race you are. I've seen it many a times. They have in LA like clothing conventions where men and women can come and get dresses and suits to try and get jobs because they don't have. And if you cared those types of things as a billionaire, millionaire, you can start helping that tomorrow. Easy. But these people profess to give a fuck. And then they go around trying to help other countries who are eating manna, which is beautiful. But it's like, take care home first. Why would you drive past the projects and hop on a plane and end up in another country? Why wouldn't you try and figure out what the fuck is going on here that would be like this? Our Gary, Indianas and Virginia, parts of Virginia. Why is that still the same? Why do you overlook Americans who are going through it and go overseas and see somebody else? Because if you really cared, the love would start at home and then it can grow outside of the home. But the problem is that you don't see these people as home. You got you got like a negative thought process of these people. How do I know? Peter Thiel literally said in San Francisco when he lived there, I don't know if he still lives there, he had an interview. You could probably find it on the internet. And they were peeking over the balcony, looking over the city, and he's rich, he's at the top of the world. And they asked about, somehow the homeless conversation came up. He said, as long as they stay down there, I'm good. They don't come up here. He doesn't think they're like him. This man made money off of government contracts. Our money made this man rich. An immigrant. And instead of seeing people where he used to be without, he doesn't care. Yet we keep putting money into this man's pocket via government funds and buying his products and services. This country spent billions of dollars trying to get you to not be woke, to hate the fact of waking up and seeing things the way they are, to make waking up a negative and staying asleep a positive. So much people going around, I ain't woke, and I don't want to be woke. All these woke people, they made being awake and understanding what's going on around you a negative so that you would fall in love with being ignorant. And when the lights come on, you just close your eyes and pray for the darkness to come back because you can't survive in the light. They spent billions of dollars to make people love darkness, evil, hate, and the shit worked. Do you understand? They play mind games with money, and they are where they are and will stay where they are until the population wakes the fuck up. Stop allowing them to dictate what it means to you. Woke to me is going to what it always meant to be. To be aware, to know your surroundings, watch your six, pay attention what communities you're in, pay attention to who you're hanging with, pay attention to what people are saying around you because you never know if you're going to be safe or not. That's what this woke means, and that's what we need to continue to do. Woke is seeing these billionaires for who they really fucking are and looking through that darkness and shit and praying for the light. I don't want to see their darkness. I want to be able to break the glass ceiling of that darkness so that it can never be dark again, that we always are in the light, that we're always woke. It's crazy how these people talk about, they don't want to be woke. I said, you don't understand what you're saying. You're really asking to be asleep. You're in love with being asleep, not woke. How people can get your mind fucked up that you really fight for your own demise. That's scary how the human brain can be tricked into believing that the best for them is the worst, and the worst for them is the best. And turns out all you gotta do is infuse hate, and you can confuse everybody. Say it again. Infuse hate, and you confuse anybody. These people are confused by hate. All they did was put hate in it, and they went toward ignorance instead of intelligence. They have figured this out to a T, that they know how to control human beings just by saying words that rhyme. We have to wake up and pay attention to how we're benefiting from stuff. When we talk about we, then you should think, how am I benefiting from it, and how are my neighbors benefiting from it? How are my family members and everybody else benefiting from it? Nobody's saying that we all got to make the same amount of money, but we all should have an opportunity to do what we want to do. There should be jobs open. There should be businesses open to provide these living wage jobs. We should understand that even if we don't have a minimum wage as government wise, we should have a minimum wage based upon where we live at. If we say minimum wage is $15, well, if you're living in a small town and rent for a house is $800, then minimum wage for you being $15, $20, that's gonna do you well, because everything there is kind of cheap. Your gas, $1.75, $2.50, $3, whatever it may be, you can deal with that. But if you're living in California, $15, you can get a cardboard box, a 2-bedroom cardboard box for $15. Yep. Go in from one hole in the box and got a living room on the other side of the box, and a backyard and a patio will be the bridge in which you live in. You live under 15. Who the fuck can live off of that shit? In a state like New York, California, it should not be the same minimum wage all around, because that will not work. It has not worked. So why can't we figure these things out? Because we don't have politicians focused on helping us. They get in to help themselves. They got to say enough that they don't piss off the rich people saying, you're going to give these poor people money, and then not piss off the poor people like, well, you're going to give this rich person, subsidies like $1 million. You won't give us $20 an hour? So you got to ride that line of lying to both of them. So both of them are stupid enough to put your ass in office. I don't know. I don't know how to solve all this, ladies, but I'm trying my best to work on it. And the thing that I'm doing right now is like what I tell you with this show. I with Straight Facts No Chase, I bring out the facts. I bring out like the vision of it, and then I say, okay, now that I'm hashing it out, how do you solve it? Well, you start with the root, just like anything else. Anything else, you start with the root of the problem. What's causing it? Greed. What would stop it? A way to regulate greed. And then once you get the regulation in, now it's all about how do you build a program? Well, you look at other countries that are doing it, and you take the best from each one of them. You start to figure it out. Like, okay, the best is here. Like, how much is it going to cost per person to do healthcare? If you're going to get a doctor, how much is paying? Like for me, I've talked to multiple doctors how their system works. Kaiser works a one way, and United Healthcare works another way, because it depends on whether the healthcare company, like Kaiser, is one unit. Okay, they are the hospital. They own their own hospitals. The doctors are under them. The nurses are under them. The insurance company is all under them. So it's just one unit. They can control a lot of the shit. But then when you look at the other ones, like United Healthcare, other places, they don't have their own hospitals. United Healthcare, I'm not sure, but the other ones don't have their own hospitals. They're just the middlemen and women. And so they can't make that great of a deal. So then you got to think about, okay, if American people are going to figure out a system, then we have to really think about having a system in which the community owns the hospital. That way, you control the insurance and everything that's needed, the equipment, all that. And then you got to go into how would you do that? And so as you break down each tier, you start to understand the American people can do it if they have a we mentality. And there's going to be a lot of memes out there. But fuck them. They're in their own little cycle over here. We need to focus on like how it's going to work for us. And I'm going to try here in California, but just to see how it would work based on the stats that I know in California. And then each state, we can travel and try and figure out like if it'll work for each state, and get the people involved, because nobody likes to be dictated how their stuff is going to work. But if we figure out a system that works for a community or a city or county or state, then we can figure out that system that goes throughout the United States. Because I look at it this way. We've had hundreds of years to figure this shit out. And at this point, I don't believe anybody's trying to fix it. I just think they're talking about it. Because you can't tell me you've had 100 years, and here it is, a black man that thinks the fucking lot can figure out multiple solutions to it that can financially work. And they're out here talking about, oh, Obamacare doesn't work. Well, you got a plan already working for 42 million people. You already got a hell of a test case. Study it like you study how white people are going to dwindle down to a minority by 20 whatever. You spent millions upon millions of dollars studying that and figured that shit out. But you can't spend millions of dollars studying how ACA works and what is wrong with it and how we can fix it. We got 42 million people on it when you only expected like 10 to 15. It's growing. So obviously it's working to some degree. And you can't figure out how to tweak it to make it even better. You can. You don't want to. Again, I give the solution of if you can take a piece of metal and throw some fuel under it and shoot that bitch into the moon or toward the moon and get to outer space without it blowing up and people coming back to live, with all those trial and errors of people dying to finally to get to the point where you're flying these things a lot and the majority of the times it's not blowing up. If you can do that, you sure as fucking fix healthcare, especially one that's already working and growing. You can fix it. The problem is you don't want it for the people. You rather that money go into your pocket. Just like you stole our Social Security money, you want to steal our healthcare money. You want the lobbyists for the insurance companies to be breaking you off millions of dollars so you can take it back to a lot of Americans dying and healthcare costs going up and they're making a mint. It's crazy how profit over people is their game plan. And we keep voting these bastards into office. The ultimate abusive relationship. That's why I'm pitching to break up with their relationship. And I ain't talking about we can't pay them and things like that. I'm just saying is the money that they're supposed to be putting where they supposed to be putting it, the people who come into office, we want regulations. We don't want you to be able to touch this money. When it goes in, it goes for that program and that program only. You can't break off a little cheese and put it into another one. Nope. Not at all. That's what we need to have. These things need to be siloed, cut off, and if you attempt to take money out of it, should be at least a 5 to 10 year prison sentence for you. We got to put some kind of regulations that they don't even think about putting money or hands on the money in which we got. And if you have to do it because of war or something like that, it has to be voted on the people. If the people say no, figure it out some other fucking way. It's about time the people rise and these lies die. This bullshit dies. That's the way I look at it. And that's why I continue to try and find solutions for us. But that's pretty much, you know, everything I kind of worked on today, because I didn't really want to go into much. I just really want to go into America, how we can build ourselves back up anew and actually be we the people. If we're going to believe in the Constitution and follow it, even though we got people destroying every ounce of it, if we're going to try and mend our relationships again with all this craziness, this MAGA, the independents, the Greenpeace, the young people just flipping all over the place like fish and don't know what the hell to believe in, the people who just don't even get into the system, and then us people who are constantly thinking about solutions to bring us all together as much as possible. We know there's going to be some of y'all going to be in that special case, you know what I'm saying, that special ed part of America where you just never get anything because you don't want to get it. We can't keep spinning wheels for people who don't want to learn. It's like, stay over there and let the people with some common sense all the way up to genius work on it. If you want to play stupid, then stay stupid. Go over there and allow the people who can do it, do it. Right? I'm not a rocket scientist, so I wouldn't be trying my damnedest to be in rocket science club to try and hang with them. No. And if you're not a brainiac, stop, or you don't know how to solve problems, then learn from it. Don't put your 2 cents in if you can't even figure out what the hell we talking about. It's just ridiculous. Put your 2 cents in on trying to figure out what it is that you need to learn about to get where we are on these topics. Let these people who are brighter than me, but have the heart and decisions like, okay, we're gonna do this is how we're gonna do it. You guys can come in and help build it. I wouldn't be the person building the hospital, but I can come up with the idea on how it should work. I'll let them handle the building. You feel me? But as long as it's a we thing, we're trying to get somewhere instead of like, I want this, I want that. It's like, you could tell people what you want, but we're not going to always get what we want. But we do want to get health care. We can get that. And there's varying levels. There are going to be people who are going to get free health care. There's people who are going to get, paid $10 a month like Netflix or some shit like that. That to me is one of the better ways to go about it than to be paying extraordinary amount of money and you don't get sick until you like 30. You don't pay into the shit like 17 years or some shit. 13 years. You ain't took nothing out of it. And then when you need something, oh, we ain't got it. I'll spend 13 years paying into this program. Why the hell don't you have the money I don't put into it to benefit me? You see what I'm saying? This system is flawed and we can fix it. I had enough arguing about this stuff. When you talk about having term limits, yeah, exactly. But again, it's I like having term limits. One of the things that I have a problem with is not having term limits. It's about including myself. I'm not perfect either. Do we don't know who we're putting into office most of the time, because politicians, pretty much all of them, they promise shit that they that are inspirational, but if you ask them outside of the camera, when they're just around their other political friends, whatever, they know these things aren't possible. Not because we don't have the money or the funds. It's because the way the system's set up. Some of these things are going to need a super majority, 60. You won't get the other side to agree with you. Even if it benefits everybody's constituents, it's all about that party bullshit. Like one team's like the Detroit Pistons and another one's like the Bulls in the 90s or some shit like that. You're sitting here like, dude, they pick a team and the idea, we're not like Pistons and the Bulls. We're more like the Olympics, where you got the star of the Pistons and the star of the Bulls. And I'm going back to the first, one Michael Jordan. That's my thing. But you got like Michael Jordan, you know what I'm saying, and you got other players, Isaiah Thomas, whatever. He didn't get to get into the Olympics, I don't think. But another player from there from that team, and we're all working to win for the United States. It's not winning for your state. We're winning for the United States. And for us to do what we're talking about to help healthcare, it's got to be winning for the United States. And you, as an American citizen, are part of that. If you can't get your mind set on helping all states and not just your state, we'll never get to that point where we actually help all American citizens. I mean, just on the bare minimum. Just on the bare minimum. The minimum wage being shot up more to a living wage to some degree. Health care, things should be just automatic. I mean, what are we paying taxes for if we don't get, taken care of like that? I mean, the Social Security. We put money into that, it should always be there. Think about this for a second. And it's just something that came out the top of my head. We're paying these healthcare companies hundreds, some thousands of dollars. If we could trust our government, if we had laws that they couldn't touch the money, why couldn't we pay an extra whatever? Your insurance is minimum, minimum probably like $300, $400. Why can't you just pay $300 or $400 into a system for all Americans that pay into it? And that's how we get health care. Why can't we do it that way? I don't know how much money they would bring, but you're looking at 300 something million, $300 a month. It's a lot. And seeing as how everybody doesn't always need it at all times, not like everybody's running to the hospital at the same time, I think it would cover it. What it would do, though, is get rid of these but the insurance companies, and they would flip out. But if the government doesn't want to do it, maybe the people can. There are too many doctors out there that don't have work. We can start, the people's doctors, where they get work, but they get paid through us. Have our own community hospitals around us. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. But the point and idea is there's solutions to be had if we really wanted them. Point blank, period. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get out here a little early. You guys, I know some of you celebrate. I'm not buying anything, haven't bought anything during this time frame. So I'll let you know that. What's up, 5 on Fire? Thank you for the donation, the memberships, rather. I understand that we're all looking for something, you know what I'm saying? And each person can come up with ideas about how we can make this a better country, how you can be focused on the we. And it can start with you on an everyday basis. What have you done for the country, for the we, for the people of the country? What can you do? Can you go and feed the homeless? Can you go read to the children? Can you go help out? And I know a lot of people do these things already, but the more of us doing it, the more we can be able to, help the country heal. I want to put together, basically, for the Avid Solutionists, I want to put together like a dream team of people who are like me, just come up with solutions all the time, and just, you never have the funds to make it happen, but together we can make a lot of things happen. We can do it through GoFundMe's and things of that nature, but we just have to come together, and it doesn't have to be all of us, just enough of us coming together, putting our brains together, our wisdom, and coming up with solutions, and then trying to get them funded so that we can start taking care of the people and not wasting our time on the government figuring like they're going to do something. Not until we can get trust with them. And hopefully that, for me, if anything like this happened, Avid Solutions, like I'm hoping if it blows up, eventually what I see us doing is that the way we are and the way we think about the we will start for lack of a better term, inspiring people just like us that will become politicians based on the fact that what we really want and what we want them to do. And if we come together, we'll elect people like this in every state. We'll try and elect people like this in every state that focus on the people. We have to be able to hold these people accountable. And I'm talking about all the way to software, to holding each person accountable. If they're not going to be held accountable by the laws, they can be held accountable by the people. So there's already apps out there that can monitor what your leadership, what they're doing, what laws they're passing, what things they promise that they're not doing, and you can find out, connect with them, and be like, "Why aren't you working on this?" So they can you keep them like on their toes about everything that you want. What happens is that we become complacent. We vote somebody in, and I'm guilty of it too. In many cases, we're guilty of just letting it ride, and they don't feel like they have any pressure to pull off anything they say they promise because they're already in the office, and we're not calling them up every day, and we're not hitting them up. We're not, if we're in the same state, we're not visiting their offices every other week and saying, "Hey, dude, what's going on?" We're not putting them on blast with social media saying, "You said you was going to do this, you haven't done it," and we're not giving them a scorecard saying, "Hey, look, you're at a 50%. Everything you said you were going to promise, you're at 50." So that if they want to be career politicians, it ain't gonna look good if they got a scorecard or a report card saying, "Hey, dude, you straight effing it right now." We got to put pressure on them like they put pressure on us whenever they want us to vote for them. They spend millions of dollars to be in our face every 5 seconds, asking us for money every 5 seconds. But once it's over, they still ask for the money, but they ain't in your faces talking about, "Look what I did, look what I did." We need to do that, and we need to make it simpler. So I'm gonna be doing that with people who are gonna be also with avid solutionists, and that's what we're gonna do. This is gonna be about reporting the problems and the facts. Avid Solutions is gonna be about fixing those things and providing solutions and putting them out there for people to read and understand and ask questions and build a coalition of people who literally want to change the world to fit the way we actually see it being. There's no reason of calling America and saying it's the land of opportunity and the thing that's an American dream if we really aren't working to make the American dream obtainable. If we're just letting it do its thing and expecting it to just appear. We've been doing that. Hasn't worked. American dream is so far away for us even. And our kids, that shit's invisible. They can't see it. And it's our fault and our parents' fault for the shit that we're in today. Even probably some of our grandparents as well. Meaning like politician wise, not your actual parents. But we've allowed these things to happen, and it's time we stop. All right? Where we at? The healthcare issue can be modeled after other countries who have universal care by law with penalties. Exactly, Alice. And I looked, like I said, I looked up other countries and they have these regulations. And what our country does is they constantly, even Democrats, they capitulate to the billionaires and the lobbyists for the healthcare companies and so forth, that they get rid of these regulations and things like, I mean, like I said, for us, we got to try and figure out something ourselves. I'm still working on it, but the idea that having a healthcare system that will not help you out if you have pre-existing conditions. You can start a healthcare plan and not know that you may have some type of cancer. They go and take your first test. Oh, you got cancer. You're like, oh my God, and you're stressed out. The insurance company, like, they had to have known they're stage 3. They had to have known they had cancer. So we're not going to cover that. I didn't know. That's why I got health care. But they put these loopholes in so that you can't get it. That's the type of stuff that Obama said no. And that's what Donald Trump and his minions are trying to put back into these clauses based off of these billionaire insurance companies wanting to be able to make it so that your 26-year-old kid can't stay on, if they're living with you, on your insurance. Your college child can't stay on your health care. They got to have their own. They're trying to move these regulations off. Some of these insurance companies, ladies and gentlemen, want to offer you junk insurance. And I think it's literally called junk insurance. It's like it's called something like that. But what it really is just it's like insurance light. It covers the bare minimum. And it's low, but it covers the bare minimums. And under what Obama and ACA care, they didn't have these things because, again, what Dems do, and like I said, I don't agree with everything because they do capitulate to the billionaires in many ways, but they care and they'll come up with systems that actually work for the people. And Republicans come out and what works for the billionaire, what works for the millionaire, what works for the bosses, not the employees, not the broke people. Gets to you. Thank you, Following Fire. Appreciate the donation. Citizens United screwed us all. Yeah, it's a lot we got to work on, and I'm gonna start talking more about it on these shows when when news is kind of like the craziness is kind of slow because of these two ambushed National Guardsmen members. Um, the nonsense kind of noise of the negative stuff is kind of mute today. I know there's some here and there, but I didn't touch on anything because I was like, I want to talk about us and how we can fix things and why we don't trust the government as much is because they've done a lot to lose the trust. I mean, after um, the stock crash in 29 and they started the um, I want to call it welfare, not called that now, but giving money to people, which was again only given to white people at the time. But regardless of that, they cared about the people enough that these systems worked. It's just odd how it stopped working once people of color got in on it. So we got to figure something out. And you'll keep hearing me saying more and more about what we can do. And you guys, I would hope we're thinking some things too, and throw it in the comment section when you come up with stuff about what you think we could do to make the healthcare system work for all of us, and how we could centralize it so that nobody can really fuck with it. Me, I'm always thinking about every aspect. I don't want to have an entity where somebody can just come in and just take it and start doing whatever they want with it. So I've thought about everything from heightened security to cryptocurrency, or not even cryptocurrency, well, somewhat to that degree. I've thought about anything that I could possibly think of that kind of makes it um, fraud proof so that we can do our best to make sure that it works for everybody and not one entity is literally trying to govern and take money out of it. It's got to be regulated. Um, yeah. So we're working on that stuff. We really are. What else? Let me see if anybody else has anything before we get out of here. There was American Dream, more like Nightmare Now. I still waiting for the dream. Yeah, Chris, is it Crystal? Yeah, we all are waiting for that dream. You know what I mean? It's strange how we have we've relied on what we consider to be the smartest and wealthy to focus on the people. And back in the day, this is the strange part. Greed has always been out there. Don't get me wrong, but there was a certain mindset, in the 30s, 40s, before the early, before 20s, like early teens and things of that nature in this country, where they came up with like pensions and of course unions and different things where they cared about the people. They realized that the people were the means to their wealth. If they treated the people well and the people came to work and felt like, oh wow, because I talked to a lot of older people. Like I told you, I'm a talker and I always have been. I don't apologize for it. And I'm always going to ask questions. I remember asking questions when I was little of neighbors who were older, people who worked at factories and different things, and wise older men in my community. It was totally a village, and we didn't live in a village, but you get my point. Uh, my neighbors watched out for me, and so helped raise me and inform me. And they talked about this era where when you got a good job and all this everything like that, you had pensions. Again, you had unions. You could have one job and take care of two, three kids and a wife, and have a house and a car, picket fence, all the things that we had dreamed of, and all that. And each time, back then, they knew if they took care of their employee and the employee came in happy, they would produce a lot of products, because the more happier they were, the more they would just bust their ass and work and not even think about taking a break sometimes. They work straight through their break because they just loved their job, what they were doing. There was a purpose behind it. Their bosses would come in and be like, hey, Ted, how you doing? And their bosses knew their name, so they had this sense of like they belonged, and that what they were doing was a part of basically this company's family. And then when they started to learn that I don't have to go into work and I can own 7 businesses, I don't have to see these people. They still got to do their job. They still got to produce. And then you start hiring managers to micromanage them and make them, force them to work harder, not giving a damn about morale of a company, and the people who work there just keep working them and working them, slave driving them and all this shit like that till they quit and they're gone. No loyalty of a employee. The employee is looking for his or her way out at any given moment. They don't have any pride in what they do. They just do it because they got to work. As soon as that alarm go off, as soon as that 3 o'clock, I'm saying, well, you're in the middle of building something. Pause. None of that shit, but pause, stop. I'll come back to it tomorrow. But you just got, you see, it's time to go. Back in the day, it was like, oh, boss only got like 6 more to go. I got this, but I did vow. Yeah, we got to get these out on or whatever, because they're gonna make a lot of money. We got to be better than Ford with Chrysler, whatever it may have been. They were in love with what they was doing because there was value added to them on what they were doing. And then billionaires and rich people start realizing, fuck the people, fuck the quality. We just want we want quantity, and we don't care about a monkey can do what they do. They're just pushing buttons. Let's keep it moving. Oh, now we can get robots. Fuck them. Let's keep it moving. So morale goes down, wages go down, jobs go down, and they want you to stay loyal when they have shown over the decades they give a shit about you. We need to bring it back where people give a shit about their people. It's not going to be the exact same way, but I truly believe that we can bring back living wage jobs. We can bring back opportunities for people who are buying with the person to make money while they shop, therefore helping everybody grow. and paying a nice, fee for it. It's not going to be cheap or anything like that, but not expensive like you buying a $40,000 bag or nothing like that. And reinvent the future. We don't have to go back, but we can bring back those same perks, if not more. Technology is something that we can use for us or against us. And businesses have been using it against us for the longest time. But we can start building it for us. We just need to put the right minds together, put the money behind it, and let it flourish and show them what we're working with. I truly believe we can compete with these billionaires and take over their particular industries, because I look at it this way. If I do the same thing as Amazon or Twitter X or whatever company, if I do the same thing, but my company's morale is higher, I'm not trying to fire people to be firing them so I can make an extra buck. If I'm out there giving pensions again, if I'm out there helping people, fulfill their dream by investing in employees who come together and come up with an idea. They don't need to be an employee for the rest of their life. They want to own a business. If I'm willing to invest as a person, you don't gave me so many years of your life. If you come up with something, me being able to invest in what you and the co-workers came up with, why not? It doesn't have to be an exclusive part. It's a we thing, because if I help you, you're going to help others. If we start doing that, their system falls. They have to do what we do, because I'd be damned if I would ever go work for somebody that just worked me like a dog and didn't give me any kind of love while I was working there about what I did, like they used to. That won't give you a pension anymore, that won't give you opportunities, and that won't invest in you. You ain't working for that company. No matter how much money they give you, you're going to go to the company that's going to pay you maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but actually invest in you. And when you start building companies like this that are profitable, they have to compete or close down. And when you got people who give a damn about you and they're doing that, they change the culture of every business that gets into business. If you're not doing what they're doing, the people that we invested in, they all have the same ideology, they can't compete. They die out. Who's going to go buy a car from a company that doesn't give you a discount or give you ownership or give you something or give you a percentage every time you buy it? Who's going to go to somebody who's going to say, oh, just take the car. Oh, you just left? It depreciated $20,000. If we had a way to be able to do it some other way, technology can work for you or against you. And we're working on trying to make technology work for the people and against those greedy bastards that's trying to fuck up your life instead of lift you. American dream, it's on its way. It's just that you have to believe in it, and you have to stop thinking that this old way is the best way, because it's not. It's one way, but I don't think it's the best way. We used to be able to give people pension. We gave people pride in their job. We gave them opportunities, and we invested in them. And they would work for us, for companies for 20, 30 years and be proud they graduated, that they retired from your place. Looking at the watch with the name of your company on it, like that's what I work for. It was proud. Nobody has that type of proudness about what they do. They just want to retire and get the fuck out. But I gave them my 30 years. I'm done. Well, we can bring that back, I believe. But we got to have people who think like I'm thinking, for the we and not just the me. We got to think about it not just for us, for our kids and our friends' kids and generations down. We can change it. We don't have to wait on it. We can build it today. Feel me? All right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm about to get up out of here because of COVID. Oh yeah, most definitely. It's craziness. But I want to focus on these issues and call out all these liars, but I also don't want to spend my wheels and my time fully just on them, because I think it's time that what they're doing should be forcing us to run the other way and do better. Call them out for what they're doing, but while we're calling them out, we need to build out something else that negates that destroys that improves what America wants, and quit waiting on them to decipher how we want this country to be. It's we the people, not just them the people. It's we the people. So we're gonna work on that. Keep talking about it. You guys, much love to y'all. Y'all have wonderful. If you celebrated Thanksgiving, prayers to the Native Americans, indigenous peoples, uh, for the abundance that we have, the land, the things that we have. Sorry for their lives, the things that happened to them. Don't wish it on anybody, just like I don't wish it on what happened to my people and what happened to the Jewish people and what happened to other cultures. Um, but just big ups to them and their families as we go through this. And if you don't know anything about Native culture, pick up a book and read something about it over a few days, or read an article or two, and send prayers out. Send prayers out to the man and woman National Guards people. I always say like guardsmen, that's what they call it, but it's a woman in there, so I'm like, I don't know. National Guards guards people. I just say like that. Send out love and prayers for them and their families, what they're going through. And no matter what, I always, mention what I'm thankful for around the season, even Christmas and things of that nature, is that I'm thankful, for my health, my family, for you guys, the opportunity to be able to live in a country where I can speak my mind. So far, when I haven't go to jail or have the FBI call me or whatever, and be able to be a part of a family and multiple different families, whether it be old school music or people who love facts. Every day, I'm thankful that you guys love facts. I am thankful that I'm not just out here by myself loving facts. And I do see many of my mutuals out there and love them to death for what they do. They work harder than I do. On the camera, I'm behind the scenes most of the time, waiting to make sure I got everything, because I try my best not to get anything wrong factually when I mention facts. But I look forward to this. I look forward to it. You guys have a great weekend. 4-day weekend, I think, for most people. You guys have a great one. I'll see you. I think Monday. Yeah, I'm not coming back until Monday. So I see you guys on Monday. As far as like music, I might do that on Friday. I might not. It depends on what I feel. I'll let TikTok people know what's gonna happen for Friday or not. But we're off for 4 days. You guys enjoy it. Much love to y'all. And you know me, I'm gonna continue working on the facts and also Avid Solutions. Go follow it. Support the show, and when that one comes out, I'm gonna try and make it as entertaining as possible. Some of the things I love when I first started this whole journey was learning about the history of Black people in this country, their American history, but at the same time just learning all the history that that this country kind of went through, and the inventors, no matter what race, color, creed they were from, just the idea of like, wow, it's amazing that they came up with this idea or that idea. So we're going to really kind of talk about the inventors of people throughout the world on one segment in my podcast. It's going to be audio and video. And first segment is going to always be about just celebrating somebody brilliant that brought something to us, and try to go in depth into their life a little bit more so than they created this. Try to go in an idea like, why would they create it? What was that brain like? What was it working on? What kind of cylinder were they working on that made them say, I gotta fix this? And from there, we start talking about other things and having fun with it and creating solutions for problems we have. So it's going to be a thinker's show. If you like to think, if you like solutions and stuff like that, that's what it's going to be. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have a great one. I'll see you on Monday. Y'all be safe. Much love. All right, I'll see you when I see you. Take care.